Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jeremy. Today I'm going to teach you how to make naan bread and mince curry. So I'm going to show you how you can do all of that at one time for one meal. So let's get started. Okay, so what I have here is I've got 4.5 cups of cake flour, and to that I'm going to add a packet of yeast. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, 3 teaspoons of sugar, and then I'm going to just mix that before I add the liquid. So to this I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of plain yogurt. I'm using full cream, but you're welcome to use low fat or fat-free or medium fat, whatever you prefer. It's 1/4 cup, and that is 1/2 cup. Then I'm going to add some oil. I'm going to pour and guess. About 2 tablespoons of oil. This is 3/4 cup of lukewarm water. And I'm just going to knead it. I've taken it out of the bowl to just get it together better. This is quite a hard dough. I like soft doughs, but this doesn't work so well with a very soft dough. So I'm just going to make it come together. I'm going to do what I did with the bread, and I'm going to put some hot water in my microwave to heat it up because it's a bit cold today. So what I do is I put hot water into the measuring jug, and I put the measuring jug into the microwave, and I just put it on for about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes while I'm kneading, so that when I need a warm place for this to rise, the inside of the microwave is warm. I put the microwave off, take the water out, I put the dough inside the microwave to rise. I kneaded the dough in the bowl, and I've been playing and pushing it around on the counter, and it's been a total of about 5 minutes. So now I need to put it in a warm place so that it can double. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to oil my hands, and then I can pick up the dough and put it in the bowl that I want it to rise in. There. So I'm going to put some cling wrap over that, and I'm going to put it in the microwave to sit for about an hour until it's double in size. And in that hour, I will make the mince curry that we're going to have with the naan bread. And I'm going to start by putting 2 tablespoons of oil into a pot, and I'm going to add all my whole spices. So if you look at this, that is 1/2 teaspoon of barishap, 1 teaspoon of jeera, 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds. There are 4 cardamom pods. There's 1 star aniseed. I've got 3 bay leaves. I've got 4 cloves, and I have a cinnamon. And then to that, I will add 2 chilies with the seeds removed. Again, I remove the seeds because I don't like the curry that hot. 1 onion chopped, and 1 green pepper chopped. I'm going to leave it in the pot to brown for about 5 or 6 minutes. Now the nice thing about curry is I love curry leaves, and I usually make curry with curry leaves. But because it's lockdown, I don't have any curry leaves. So all these things are in the pot, but curry works even if you leave some of it out. So for instance, if you can't find barishap, then you can just use coriander seeds and jeera, or just the coriander seeds. Whatever you don't have, you just leave out. But I like to start my curry with curry leaves, so if I had curry leaves, I would have put those in the oil before the other spices. So the onions have browned with all the other things in there, and next I'm going to add my masalas. Now, people say mixing masala is an art. It's not. If you're a bit scared of masala, don't use masalas. Use a curry powder. A curry powder works as well, but you need to get to know your spices. So what I have here is, this is a fish masala, quite unusual. but this is a fish masala from Qatar, and I find that fish masalas are very, very fragrant. This is what we in Cape Town call a Durban masala. I bought it in Johannesburg. It was just called daily masala, but it's a red masala. It gives your food a lovely color. It's quite strong. And this is a biryani masala, but I'm using this because I don't have garam masala and it's quite similar. So what we're going to do is, there are 2 chilies in there, so you need to be realistic about how strong you want it. Now, if I was making this for my eldest brother, I would have used a lot of this and a lot of this, because both of these masalas are quite strong. But I'm making it for myself, so I'm going to start with the fish masala because it's beautifully fragrant. And I'm going to start, this is just a teaspoon with a very long neck, by adding 2 heaped teaspoons of the fish masala. Then I'm going to add a teaspoon of the Durban masala, but not a heaped one. Do that. This would be a garam masala, but it's a biryani powder. And this just fills up the flavors nicely. This is not strong at all, so I would add that much of that. I want the masalas to get a little bit of heat before I continue. So I'm going to mix them with the onions. Don't give them too much heat, and don't leave them in there for too long. If your masalas burn, your curry is going to be terrible. So I wanted to cook a little bit without the meat. So I'm going to leave it in there, maybe for 20 to 30 seconds, which is past. And then I'm going to add 1 tomato. And these are 2 big cloves of garlic and 1 thumb of ginger that I've grated finely. Now I add the garlic, and you see how easily it burns. I add the garlic and ginger this late because I do not want my garlic and ginger to burn. So I want this to cook a bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. I use boiling water. And I'm going to leave that to boil until all the water has boiled away. And just back to my thing about masalas. You don't need to use masala. You can use a good curry. If you are really scared of making a curry by yourself, then get yourself a box of curry and maybe 1 masala, like a leaf masala or an 11-in-1. You'll get these at Pick n Pay or ShopRite. And then just start by trying to mix those 2. And then get yourself a garam masala, because that fills up the flavors nicely. Or if you're a bit scared of making it too hot, leave out the leaf masala or the fish masala. Just get yourself a curry and a garam masala, and that will be a good start. And then after that, you can play around with different masalas once you know what you like. If you would prefer a fruity curry, then don't put in tomato, but do chutney instead. Any chutney. I like peach chutney, but any chutney of your choice. The moisture is just about gone. I'm going to add the mince next. So this is 1/2 kilogram of mince, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up. If you don't break it up, you're going to have big lumps of mince in your curry. Okay, so I've broken up all the mince. Some people prefer to wash the mince. If you wash it, you can take it apart while you are washing it. It does change the texture of the curry though. So the mince has been broken up, and now I'm going to season it straight away. A bit of sugar helps to bring the flavors together beautifully. So, 1.5 teaspoons maybe. I'm going to do some pepper. That's white pepper. Some salt, not too much. Maybe a teaspoon for now, 1/2 teaspoon for now, because I need to add a beef cube. And then I always do a bit of aromat. This is optional. I know some people don't like using aromat, but it brings the flavors together beautifully. I'm going to add a bit of water because I cook it quite briskly. Make sure that your beef cube dissolves. And then you're going to prepare your potatoes. And as soon as your potatoes are peeled and cut up, you put them in the pot. So I've just turned down the heat on the stove and I'm going to add the potatoes. I've peeled and chopped 2 potatoes. You'll see I cut the potatoes quite small. One doesn't want huge potatoes in a curry because if you're going to combine it with roti or you're going to put it on a vetkoek or you're going to have it with naan bread, the big potatoes are not great. That's a bit dry, so I'm going to add a bit of water. And I'm going to leave this to simmer on the stove until the potatoes are soft. That'll probably be about 15 to 20 minutes. So I have left the naan bread to rise. It has been in the microwave for about an hour and 10 minutes. That's how long it took me to get to this point. The potatoes are still cooking soft next to me, and I'm going to show you what to do with the naan. So the first thing we need to do before we remove the naan from the bowl is to oil the surface. Now, oiling the surface is as simple as it sounds. You put oil on the counter and you do this with your hand because your hand needs to have oil as well to work with the naan. So I'm going to remove the dough and I'm going to knead it some more on my old surface. So I've kneaded it for about a minute. And now I'm going to make a ball again. Now, this mixture is enough for 12 naan breads. So I need to divide it into 12 equal parts. And I'm really, really bad at that, so I cheat. Most people would cut it up, and I weigh it. So this dough weighs 1.173 kilograms. 1.173 kilograms. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out my calculator and I'm going to divide 1.173 by 12, and then I'm going to make my balls that weight. Ball must be 98 grams. So I'm just going to break pieces of them off. That is 100 grams. That's close enough. Okay, so if you're going to use my method, you might end up with 98 grams of naan flour looking like this. So you put the extra pieces at the bottom, flatten it slightly, fold it over until you have a ball. The bottom will look like that, but when you flatten it to make the naan, it will be perfect. I'm only cooking for 2, so what I do is I freeze the naan. So I've made 12, but I wrap them in cling wrap and then I freeze them in 2s. So all of that will go into the freezer, and I'm only going to make these 2 this evening. I'm going to finish the naan now. So I've oiled this surface and I'm going to flatten the naan with my hand. Okay, I've preheated my pan and I'm going to put a little bit of water on the top of the naan. And I'm going to put it in the hot pan with the water side down. Into a dry pan. The pan is completely dry. So while this naan is finishing, I'm going to finish the curry. And I'm going to add coriander leaves. I'm adding a whole packet of Woolworths coriander leaves because I like them. And I just cut them with scissors. Multitasking. Sure, just in time. Please remember to wash the coriander leaves well. I once had curry at a friend's house and all I tasted was sand. So if you're buying coriander in a bag, you can just rinse it a few times. But if you're buying a bunch of coriander, you have to let it lie in water and then all the sand goes down and then you still have to rinse it a few times. Colanders work best. That's fine. Okay, so this naan is done. Maybe you don't like this many coriander leaves, but it's entirely up to you. So So let's plate this. So dinner is served. Mince curry with naan bread. Thank you for joining me yet again. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. Please remember to like the video and to subscribe to my channel, and then I will see you next week again. Thank you very much.